Are you craving offline connections, but feel anxious and nervous going into social settings? If this is you, then you're not alone. And today we're going to dive into why we're craving more offline connections, the benefits of having in-person socialization, and finally, how we can go about starting to have these social interactions without the anxiety and the nerves. I'm your host, Daniel James, and as always, if you're new here, welcome. So let's dive straight into this. Let's look at why we're craving offline connection now more than ever. Well, the first thing to realize is that as human beings, we are wired for connection. There's something biologically within us called the mirror neurons and also oxytocin, which is released during physical proximity. So the reason why you may be craving this connection is because it's hardwired within us. Now, these mirror neurons, the way I want you to think about this is like something in our brain is almost like a copycat. And have you ever noticed when someone's laughing, other people start to laugh? And they say that laughing is contagious. Well, that's a real thing. That's an example of these copycat neurons showing themselves. Because what happens is we want to feel how other people are feeling, which is also why if we're in a situation where people are feeling anxious, we ourselves can start to feel more anxious. Or we can start to feel more worried because we want to kind of experience and feel what other people are feeling. So it's realizing, that on a biological level, our brain is wired to kind of mimic other people because it helps us understand what people are feeling and we can then copy those emotions so that we kind of understand what we think is acceptable in this environment. Notice why we kind of go into this new environment. We're kind of always looking for other people. We're looking for cues. How are other people reacting? And then we kind of go along with it because we don't want to be cut out from the group by doing something weird. And then the second thing I mentioned there is that oxytocin. So oxytocin is a chemical that's released when we have this physical touch. It's like a happy chemical and it makes us feel safe, makes us feel loved, and it makes us feel connected. So if we're only having conversations with people behind a screen, then we're going to be missing out on such a key biological component that we're all craving, which is why during the lockdowns, a lot of us suffered, especially if we were isolated by ourselves because we were missing that hormonal release. We were just craving a hug. We were craving touch because we wanted to feel safe, we wanted to feel loved, and we wanted to feel connected. So it's realizing why these things have come about. Another reason why we're craving this offline connection is because we've got a lot of digital fatigue. We've got this emotional exhaustion from constantly being behind these screens, whether it's on your laptop, whether it's on your tablet, or even if it's being on your phone. We've got the whole thing of like, we're craving real interactions because we're just so sick of being behind these screens, constantly having Zoom meetings. And it's just relentless because it's kind of like Groundhog Day. We sit in the same place, look at the same camera, see the same people. It's just monotonous. And I believe that this has then led to this loneliness epidemic that we're having. Now, there was a study taken by the Office of National Statistics, and it said, this survey was conducted between December 2023 and January 24, and it said that around 27% of adults reported feeling lonely, always, often, or some of the time. 27%. Now, for me, that isn't really acceptable. Like we shouldn't be feeling lonely in a world full of people. Now, I think there's another reason behind this as well, which is kind of a deeper rooted thing, is that you can go into a room full of people and still feel lonely. Because if we've got that bad relationship with ourselves, that's what makes us feel lonely because we're disconnected from ourselves. That's how we can feel lonely. However, I think with this loneliness epidemic comes from the thing we spoke about when it comes to the oxytocin release, that happy hormone, because we're not having those interactions. We're not going into the office as much. We're stuck behind this screen, which has led to people feeling lonely. It's led to people feeling disconnected outside of the tribe. And I also feel like there's a lack of depth with online interactions. It's always surface level stuff. Because it's very easy, and maybe you do this yourself, it's very easy to be on a screen and pretend that you're okay, to pretend that you're having a good day. Whereas actually in person, people can pick up on your energy. It's very easy to hide behind a screen. I know people that have therapy online, and they can lie to their therapist because it's so easy. The therapist doesn't really know because they can't pick up on the energy, they can't pick up on the little mannerisms. So for example, One thing that you will not know about me is that every time I record, I have a little cloth here. I like to play with, it sounds bizarre, I like to play with a little bit of cloth. This shows how open I am on these podcasts, by the way. Like for me, it just brings me comfort. But you will never see me doing that because I'm talking behind the screen. I'm playing with it right now. You would not have a clue. Now, if I go to the second camera screen here, you can see that it's down here and I'm playing with it. But you wouldn't know. So again, if you're my therapist and you're looking at the screen, I can seem like I'm okay, but actually I'm getting a lot of comfort from this. And you may need to know that in order to go a little bit deeper on some stuff. So it's realizing that behind this screen, it's all surface level stuff. Whereas actually when we're in person, we have a lot more meaningful, deeper connections. So that's why I think, or a few reasons why we're craving this offline connection. Now let's dive into the mental health benefits of this in-person socialization, because before we kind of go into, well, how do we go about doing it? We kind of want to see the benefits of it, because we know now why we're craving it, but what are the benefits of it? Now, the first thing here is to do with, it improves our mood and our happiness, which makes sense. Oxytocin is a happy hormone. And obviously, if we're having this interaction, we are going to feel happier. Kind of makes sense. There's a good connection there. And there's research done from the University of Georgia, which revealed that participants who engaged in conversations with strangers reported a higher mood boost than those who used smartphones or sat there alone. Now, here's the key part. I love this about this research here. It says, interestingly, even though participants anticipated that talking to a stranger might be less enjoyable, the actual experience led to greater positive emotions because we're built for connection. So even though you may be feeling a bit anxious and a bit nervous about going to social settings, about putting yourself out there, the reality of it is you'll feel so much better after the event, after that interaction with somebody, because we can't help it when we're feeling connected with somebody, especially when we talk about ways that you can go about having this interaction with people. If you're meeting people who've got similar interests to you, it's so, so powerful. Another reason, mental benefit of this in-person socialization, is that it reduces stress and anxiety. Because in-person interactions has been shown to lower cortisol and promote relaxation. Caveat to that, depending on who you're spending time with, because obviously if it's an in-person person you speak to in real life, but they are a gossip, drama, blah, 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 constantly bringing stuff to your life, then you're not going to have a lot of this. So the caveat to that is it's got to be the right kind of people you're interacting with, not just random people for the sake of it. And again, it's partly through physical cues like touch, eye contact, and body language. Have you ever sat across from somebody, and it could even be in a business meeting, but have you ever sat across from somebody and looked them dead in the eye? And you've instantly felt connected with them. I'm not talking about emotionally, romantically, but that eye contact is so, so powerful, because when you're looking dead into somebody's eyes, you feel connected to them. Now, even now, if you're watching me, I'm staring straight into the screen. It looks like I'm looking you in the eyes, but I'm not. There's a camera in the way. But if I was sat opposite you right now, eye contact is such a key thing, and so many people are struggling with it because they're behind the screens. So many young people struggle with eye contact. They struggle to shake your hand and look you dead in the eye because they're not used to it. And then we wonder why there's such an epidemic, especially with young people, about feeling lonely and disconnected. We also have a stronger sense of belonging, because we have these communities. Physical communities is how we've survived for thousands of years. And in these environments, people will feel seen, heard, and supported in ways that online spaces can't replicate. You can't replicate it. And I'm not saying online communities don't have their space. They do. I think they're fantastic. I'm not saying these Zoom calls don't have their place, because they do. I've connected with people from all over the world, especially doing podcasts, and you can feel connection with people, but it's not the same as doing it in person. And it's a lot harder to do it and build that rapport over a screen than in person. So let's now dive into how we can overcome this social anxiety or awkwardness when it comes to now interacting with people, especially post-isolation. And again, I know it's been years. We're thinking, oh, what are you on about, Dan? But look at how people have still struggled. People have struggled more and more since that lockdown with that feeling of social anxiety. So first thing we can do is start small and build up gradually. Now, you want to start off by engaging in low-pressure social situations. So, for example, just reconnecting with some close friends. If you haven't met up with a friend for a while, or maybe you've got a group of friends that you kind of touch point every now and again, but you always avoid going out with them or having a coffee. You're always making excuses, acting like you're busy. Reconnect with them, because they're people that do know you, and it should be easy for you, and it should be less pressure to go and meet those people. So connect with close friends, or maybe friends that used to be close that have kind of got a bit distant. Because maybe they're feeling the same as you and they're waiting for somebody to put that olive branch out there. So maybe this is your opportunity to help them too. Or how about friends, family members you've not seen for a while? Maybe reconnect with them. I've got family that's, again, about 2 or 3 hours away from me. The first thing I did at the earliest convenience was go and see them. Because then it allows you to connect with them. But make sure they're the right kind of friends and make sure they're the right kind of family members. But start with brief meetups like a coffee or a walk. A walk's a great one because it kills 2 birds with 1 stone, because you might meet other people, see some dogs if you like dogs. Brilliant for making you feel better. But having those small things like a coffee normally lasts about an hour. But if you're having a great time, you can extend that. But if not, you've got the cut-off point and then you can leave. Same with a walk. If you're doing a route, a 45-minute walk, an hour-long walk, and afterwards you can leave. Or you can extend it if you want to. So it's a great thing to do. So these small gatherings, again, whether it's with one friend or family members or a small thing, but start small and build up. And then what you can do is you can then start to look for other groups for things that you enjoy. So for example, if you enjoy computer games, maybe join a local club where people meet up and play computer games in person because they're your kind of people. Or maybe you love books. Maybe join an in-person book club. Whatever it is that you like and you enjoy, once you've kind of built that initial phase, you can then go on to other areas, but it's people that've got the same interests as you. Again, that connection. Second thing we can do to help with this social anxiety is practice grounding techniques. So when you're feeling anxious, big deep breaths, not from your chest, from your diaphragm. It's all about inhaling slowly through the nose. Hold it for a few seconds and then exhale through your mouth. And just focus on your breath. Because when you're focusing on your breath, it brings you back to the present moment rather than letting your mind wander, which is normally what causes us to feel a bit anxious and nervous. We're worried about the what ifs, ands, and maybes. Our mind's getting scattered. Bring it back to the present moment. Ground yourself. And on that note, another really good grounding technique is the 5-4-3-2-1 technique, where if you're starting to feel a bit anxious in this social environment, identify 5 things that you can see. So look around. So right now, I would say fan, light, plant, that's 3, laptop and iPad. 5 things. There are 5 things I can look around and I can see. Because once again, I'm controlling my focus. I'm not letting my focus go wild. I'm controlling it. 5 things you can see. 4 things that you can touch. So I'd go for my pen, table, chair, my cloth, and my phone. 4 things I can touch. And once again, if you're touching them, focus on how they feel, the texture. Then it's 3 things you can hear. Now, I can't really do that because I'm in a room kind of by myself here. But 3 things you can hear. Then 2 things that you can smell. So right now I've got some eucalyptus in the room. I can smell the eucalyptus and I can also smell the wood from the table. And then 1 thing that you can taste. I can taste dry mouth because I need a drink. So then straight away, what I've done is I've taken myself out of this big, crazy input environment where things are just kind of hitting me. And I've chosen to take conscious control to be like, right, this is what I can see, smell, taste, touch, hear. I'm controlling that input and it puts me back into the present moment and it anchors me and it can help alleviate anxiety. And the Jed Foundation did great research on this about how powerful that can be. We spoke about this at length, but another thing you can do is reframing your thoughts. So it's common to anticipate negative thoughts and outcomes in social settings. That's completely natural, completely normal, especially if it's a new situation that you're in. But for me, can we imagine ourselves before we go there ahead of time? Can we imagine having an enjoyable social interaction? Because if we kind of worry that negative things are going to happen, we're kind of turning it into a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then what we do is we're thinking negative thoughts. The thoughts lead to our feelings, and those feelings lead to the actions. So if we're thinking anxious thoughts, we're going to feel anxious, and the actions we're going to take are either no actions or very anxious, half-hearted action, which can lead to negative results, which then confirm to us that this isn't really for us. So for me, it's really as much as we can controlling our thoughts as much as possible and start to challenge any negative thoughts and beliefs that come up. Start to question the validity of these anxious thoughts and start to balance them with more positive perspective. This can massively reduce anticipatory anxiety, meaning when we anticipate things to go wrong, these techniques can massively help us. Another thing that we can do is engage in enjoyable activities. I kind of spoke about this before, but join clubs and groups and engage in hobbies or interests where social interaction is a byproduct. not the main focus. So another thing of this is like volunteering. When you're volunteering, what you're doing is you're helping other people. And this can also provide a sense of purpose. So if you feel like you don't have much purpose in life, but by you going and helping other people, it puts you outside of your problems, you're helping other people, and a byproduct of that is you're going to have interaction with people. Rather than having the interaction with people as the main thing, the star of the show is actually you helping other people. This is such a massive thing which is not talked about enough. Don't make the thing you're trying to do the star of the show. Just go and do something, and as a byproduct, that's again a book club. The main part of a book club is to read the book and share your experiences with the book. It's not necessary to socialize with the people. However, beforehand and after and during, there can be opportunities for you to connect with people. That's a byproduct of the actual thing that it is that you want to do. But being in environments that are aligned with your interests can make socializing feel a lot more natural. If you've taken any value from today's episode, don't forget to like it and share it with a friend. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcast, please leave us a review. It massively, massively helps. If you're watching on YouTube, in a second, a thing's going to pop up which will give you the next recommended video for you. It's specifically designed by YouTube to help you go on your journey. Until next time, take it easy.